So in lesson 10-4, we're going to be solving two-step equations. We are going to go back to just working with integers though. So for number one, again, the rules aren't changing at all. It says to simplify both sides of the equation. So if we need to, we got to simplify, get rid of any addition, subtraction to the side of the variable, and then get rid of multiplication, division to the side of the variable. Now, I'd like to make a comment on those two things. Basically, step 2 and 3, we are following order of operations, PEMDAS, but when we're solving equations, we're actually going backwards. So we're taking care of our addition and subtraction first, and then we're doing our multiplication and division. Now, if we ever had parentheses or exponents, we would save those to the end as well. It's just that we haven't had that yet. So if we do, which we actually will today, we're going to be adding another step. So first things first, we need to get rid of the addition and subtraction. So again, I got to look at the side of the variable. So when I put my blinders on here, the variable is on the right side. So I'm looking at this 9 and the 2. Now, the 2 is actually multiplication, so I need to get rid of the 9 first. So I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides. All right, I'm going to draw my line. I got to bring my equal sign down, and I have to bring my 2a down. All right, this is 0, and 23 minus 9 would be 14. Okay, and then now I can get rid of multiplication and division, so I divide both sides by 2. And the 2's will cancel, and I'll be left with a is equal to 7. Now again, before you circle it, you want to check it. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 plus 9 is 23. So that's my answer. So again, you can check all these. Going on to the next one. Now the variable's on the left side. Again, I want to get rid of addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to deal with the 9 or the 7. This time I deal with the 7 first. Since it is a minus 7 or a negative 7, I need to add 7 to both sides in order to get rid of it. Okay, and then you can bring your negative 9 and down, and our equal sign down. This thing right here is 0, so it cancels out, and I have 117. Okay, now I can get rid of the multiplication division, divide both sides by negative 9. And the negatives will cancel, the 9's will cancel, so I'm left with n is equal to, now this is a positive divided by a negative, so I will get a negative, and then 117 divided by 9 gives me 13, so negative 13. Now again, plug that into your equation, so negative 13 times negative 9 minus 7 is going to give you 110. Okay, so that does work, we can circle it. All right, so there's nothing a whole lot new going on here, except for we have to do 2 steps. So kind of think of it when we were bringing down that negative with the variable before. We were basically doing this then, because we had to do the addition, subtraction, and then we had to get rid of the negative 1 coefficient by dividing. So really, you've already been doing this for the last week. All right, moving on. Now we have division here, but again, it's the same thing. We got to get rid of addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to add 10 to both sides. All right, draw my line. I need to bring the n over 15 down. This is 0. I can bring my equal sign down if you want those arrows in there. Negative 11 and a positive 10, so I have a negative 1. Okay, now I do have room right here, so I'm just going to write times 15 because I was dividing by 15, so multiply by 15 on both sides. 15s will cancel, and n is equal to negative 15. Now I'll go ahead and just check that. Negative 15 divided by 15 is negative 1, and then minus 10 would give us negative 11. So that does work. Negative 15 is our answer. Always check it before you circle. Okay, again, here the variable is on the left, so I need to get rid of this 2 first because this is division. I do that later. So let's add 2 to both sides. All right, draw my line in there. Bring my b divided by negative 9 down. Bring my equals down. And I'm left with positive 1. Now, multiply by negative 9 on both sides to get rid of the negative and the 9. Negatives will cancel, 9's will cancel, and I'm left with my b is equal to negative 9. Okay, go ahead and check that. Negative 9 divided by negative 9, that's just 1. And then if I add negative 2, that would be negative 1. So that does work. You always got to check it. So same thing here, nothing new. Let's add 9 to both sides. All right, bring your x divided by negative 15 down, bring our equal sign down, and we're left with 2. Let's go ahead and multiply by negative 15 on both sides. Negatives and the 15s cancel. I'm left with negative 30. Okay, go ahead and check that. If I go negative 8 plus negative 30 divided by negative 15, I should get my answer here. So negative 30 Okay, so I'm sure you guys caught my mistake here as I was going. For some reason I added 9. That's obviously incorrect. So hopefully you caught that. We need to add 8 to both sides. That's going to change this 2 to just a positive 1, and then our answer is going to be negative 15, not negative 30. So I apologize for that. Hopefully you caught it. And then if you check that, again, how did I find my answer? It was when I was checking. So be sure to always check negative 8 plus negative 15 divided by negative 15. Well, that's just 1. So negative 8 plus 1 is going to give us our negative 7. Okay, so again, I caught my mistake there when I was checking my answer, so it's important to check. Now, these here, we have 3 examples like this, and they're all very, very similar. What we have here is we have a situation where we have invisible parentheses, okay? So do you remember what I said at the beginning? We follow order of operations backwards. So we take care of parentheses at the very, very end when we're solving equations. Now, you're looking at this saying, well, I don't have parentheses. So normally we would get rid of the addition and subtraction first. However, when division is written like this, we would have invisible parentheses around the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so if I were to write this problem, let's say I was able to write it just left and right, I would say x plus 9, and parentheses would have to be around that, and then I would say divided by 5 is equal to 5. Okay, this is how I would have to write it if I wrote it left and right. But when you write it like this with the division bar here, you do not have to use parentheses. So they are invisible parentheses. We have to assume that they're there. You just can't see them, okay? But they are there. So what I'm trying to say is we can't get rid of the 9 until the 5 is gone. So how do I get rid of divided by 5? Well, I got to multiply by 5 on both sides. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. You just have to remember which one has to come first. So the 5s are gone, and now I can break open my parentheses. So x plus 9 is equal to 25. Now I subtract my 9 on both sides, and I get x is equal to 16. Okay, x is equal to 16. Now, just check that. So 16 plus 9 hit equals. Okay, divide that by 5, and we should get 5, which we do. All right, again, it's just an order of operations thing. There is parentheses there, so we have to do the multiplication first. So I know in the rules, it says to get rid of addition and subtraction first. Well, again, I'm just following order of operations, okay? Get rid of addition and subtraction first, order of operations backwards, okay, then multiplication division. But if I went to step 4, I would say then do exponents, then step 5 would be parentheses, okay? So we do have to follow those steps. Okay, so if we look at a couple more examples like that, if you ever see division written like this, just go ahead and throw parentheses around the top so it helps you see it, okay? And then we have to get rid of that bottom number first. So times 2 times 2. That'll get rid of your 2's. Now we can open up the parentheses. R minus 10 equals negative 4. Add 10 to both sides. And so R is equal to 6. Then go ahead and check it. Okay, 6 minus 10, that would be negative 4. All right, and then divide that by 2, and we get a negative 2. So that does work. All right, if you do it the other way, it's not going to work. So you can always check yourself by checking your answer. Okay, so be sure to do that, just like how I did the one problem. All right, throw parentheses around the top. We need to get rid of that 3 first. There's nothing else to get rid of. Drop the 3, open up the parentheses, so n plus 7 is equal to negative 12. Now we can subtract that 7 on both sides, and so we're going to get n is equal to negative 19. Again, always check it. So negative 19 plus 7, I hit equals, and then divided by 3. It's important to hit equals because the parentheses tells us we're going to hit equals on the top. Okay, and then you divide by 3. Otherwise, it's going to do 7 divided by 3 and then add your negative 19, which we don't want it to do. All right, so when I did do that, it gave me negative 4. So I can circle that, and I'm good. So that's my last example for today. Those are the types of problems you'll see in today's worksheet.